Well, my name is Keith Nannis, and I'm an ordained pastor, and I left the church in my upbringing so I could be here to speak at times like this. Because I believe that because of some large percentage of the church and its attachment to religious Trumpism is associated itself with something distinctly anti-Jesus.
Yeah.
There's so much on our minds and hearts tonight. I don't know about you, but I can't get to sleep tonight, sometimes at night, and I wake up sometimes in the middle of the night, and I don't know how to pray sometimes. And my wife and I are weary and overwhelmed. We want to do so many things, and you want to do so much, but you came here tonight. And I came here tonight to try to keep a promise. It's a promise too late to keep for Patrick. I never met him. Hardly deserved to wear the shirt. And it's a promise too late to keep for everybody who died in Buffalo. Maybe there's one man I can keep the promise for. He's a friend of my pastor. Doug Van Doren is here too. He's our pastor together. And African-American pastor, and he sent an email to his pastor friends. And so our pastor read this Sunday morning in church. I'll read you just part of it. Pastor wrote this right after Buffalo. And he said, I'll tell you, I feel hunted. I feel hunted like members of my own denomination want me to be silent or dead. I feel that folks who laid their hands on me at ordination would fold their hands if their friends chose to attack me. I see a Trump sticker and translate, they hate me. And I see the American flag on a truck and it feels like a weapon. After Saturday in Buffalo, I'm paranoid, distracted, and obsessed, wondering who it is that wants to kill me. So I'm here, when I hear anguish and trauma like that I haven't had to live in my own life, but when I hear it, when I feel it, maybe I can keep the promise for him. Because I'm a guy who used to go to Promise Keepers. And you talked about talking to women. That was a thing to talk to men. And if you don't know what that was about, you're too young to know what that was about. You kind of imagine 40,000 religious evangelical men in a stadium, or 70,000 religious evangelical men in Pontiac Silverdome, singing rock songs for God and listening to sermons and repenting of their sins and trying to take on a new way of being in the world and in their families. That's what I really thought it was all about. You think what you want, well, Promise Keeper. I look back now and I'm like, what the heck was I doing? But at the time, it was just rock songs for God and changing our lives for Jesus, and that's what it was about. It was, in many ways, such a beautiful thing. Think what you want about Promise Keepers, but there was one tour that Promise Keepers took through the country 26 years ago. They went on the racial reconciliation tour through this country. And stadiums full of religious evangelical men gathered together. And the coach said to us, Coach McCartney, he says, now, you guys are here, and we are going to tackle the beast. We are going to tackle racism together. You guys are going to lead it. You're going to promise tonight to lead a change in this nation about prejudice and about racism. And we said, yes, Coach. We sang rock songs for God, and we heard great sermons. And we had Asian American and African American and Native American and then Americans like me hugging each other and confessing each other to each other and weeping over each other. And then when it was all done, then Coach McCartney stood up and he says, now you white men. And we go, what? And he says, you white men. So now you're responsible. I want you to promise tonight that when you hear something racist or hear something that is said that is wrong and unjust, I want you to have the courage to stand up and to confront it and to speak against it. We said, yes, Coach, we will. He said, if you see something that is unjust or that is wrong or that is racially motivated, I want you to have the courage to stand up and speak to it, put your life on the line, because these are now your brothers. And you will stand with them and you will defend them. And you are the ones to do it. You promise? We said, yes, we promise. Do you promise? Yes, we promise, Coach. Tens of thousands of men from this whole religious swath of West Michigan white religious men were at those gatherings. And we said, yes, coach! I don't know, where the hell are you now? Where did you go? Where did you go? Sitting on your hands, you get your hands over your mouth. Did you see nothing? We didn't hear nothing. Oh, it's complicated. Well, I don't know where you went, but I know where some of your sons wound up. Because I talked to one about a year ago. He's a deacon in this nice white Evangelical church. He lives in a nice white suburban neighborhood with a big old house, and all his neighbors go to their conservative white Evangelical churches too. And kids all go to Sunday school, and all the parents are youth leaders and elders and deacons in their churches, and they have a great time. They get together once or twice a month, and they all cook out, and they have drinks, and have a lovely time. But this deacon says to me, he's in his late 30s, and he's like, "Hey, I don't know, though, what's starting to bother me a little bit is what's starting to bother you?" And he said, "Well, we have this lesbian that lives in our neighborhood, and all our neighbors are really, really tormenting her. And all these guys send naked pictures of women to each other all week long. And when we're at these things, we got our burgers and our beers and everything, and they're telling all these racist jokes using the N-word. Everybody laughs, and I think that's hilarious." We said, "It's really starting to kind of bother me a little bit." "Is it? Is it starting to bother you a little bit? A little bit? Is it starting to bother you?" Yeah, we're all just a little bit bothered, but we're here tonight because we're a big time bothered. And because there's something that's not the same. I don't know what you all thought you were doing, what my generation of guys thought they were doing at those rallies and at those Promise Keepers gathering. I don't know what happened to the promises they made, but I know that something didn't get through to your kids. Whatever you said you would be as a dad, something you did not communicate to your kids. That we are trying to communicate now. We're here today to reclaim the promise. Here's what this pastor said at the end of his email. Here's what I need. I need my white allies and freedom fighters to publicly proclaim things. Like, I renounce white replacement theory. Anybody here renounce that?
Yeah.
We renounce that. Or to say things like, I renounce white supremacy. Anybody here renounce that?
Renounce it.
I renounce that. I renounce the killing of black people in every form. Anybody here want to renounce that? I renounce that. He said, I don't want you to be quiet about it or put it in a little note. I need you to be loud about it. Loud enough for your children and your families and your neighborhoods to hear. Put it in the newspapers, get a billboard, put signatures down, hold a press conference, whatever it takes, because that's the only way I can find solace in knowing that somebody's out there not trying to kill me. That's not too big a promise to keep, to say, I am with you. We are together. We suffer together. We stand together. We're trying to do something better together to keep the promise. May God help us. May God help us and give us the true nature and love of Jesus in the world and love for one another. Can't solve everything. I'm troubled. I'm anxious. I weep half the time, but God help us as we seek justice and peace, dignity, love for one another. God bless you for being here today, keeping the promise. Amen.